Hey, my name is Catherine Keeney. I'm calling the Sustainability Committee meeting to order. Today is September 17th, 2024. It is 12:09 PM. We are in council chambers at City Hall. Can we do, I know we already did a little bit of an introduction, but just for the record, can we go around and introduce ourselves, starting with you, sir?
Starting with me.
Yes, please.
Wayne Benner, Sandpoint, and I sit on the Sandpoint Planning Commission. And I could go into all kinds of more details, but I'll pass it on.
Not a problem.
Pam Duquette, and I sit on city council, and I live in Sandpoint.
And I'm Mary Wilkos, and I am Sandpoint.
Katrina Pielli, I live in Ponderay. Christine Moon, I live in Sandpoint.
Anna Duke, I live in Sandpoint, and my background is in permaculture and I'm interested in green spaces, and I also raise rabbits.
Deborah Dickerson, lived in Sandpoint. When I went to MBA school, we concentrated in sustainability, sustainable business, which to me is still a contradiction to today. And I'm also a business coach with the Small Business Development Center.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Zach Jones. I'm an attorney for the city. I could say, since we're sharing that information. And I look forward to seeing what you guys do.
So I am Catherine Keeney. I am engineering tech for the city. So I work real closely with Brandon for water, sewer, and just a bunch of that stuff. I have done a lot of planning in past, so I'm excited to do this. I live in Athol, since we are sharing, but I'm excited to be part of this and to help out where I can.
And Catherine will be serving as your or your staff
Yes,
liaison.
I'm the staff liaison. Sorry, that's a little important part of that.
My name is Melissa Ward. I am the city clerk. And I'm just here helping out today and doing some training and clerking meeting.
Amazing city clerk. She's
My name is Samantha Branscombe. I'm the public works admin for the city, and I'm training to.
Yep, she'll be your clerk.
big shoes.
Right, so we've called to order, we did roll call. Don't have any minutes to approve. So I guess we'll move on to new business, which would be orientation and training, which I believe Melissa.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and start with Zach. I'm gonna
Sorry.
bring up the handbook. That's good. I'm gonna bring up the handbook just, so that we can go over that part of it. And then, once Zach's done with his training, I'll go over a little bit of it as well.
Sure. Does everybody have the handbook in front of them?
Mhm.
Has everybody had an
I'm gonna bring
opportunity
it up.
to review it?
I have it at home online, but I did not.
You're off the hook, Pam. Everything I say, you probably already
Okay,
been instructed on. So there are essentially three things that I want to discuss with everyone about. These meetings are open meetings, so we have to follow the open meetings laws. And so what that means is anytime there's a quorum of the members of this committee meeting to discuss official business, you have to have an agenda. It has to be posted 5 days in advance. The agenda has to be the notice of the meeting has to be posted 5 days in advance of the meeting, the agenda 48 hours. Typically, they do that at the same time. That goes for electronic communications as well. And so you're going to you probably already have gotten blind copied for scheduling this meeting by Melissa. There will be times when you're not blind copied and there's an email just sent to all of you at the same time. Please don't reply all to those. I know that in most businesses, that's kind of how you communicate. And certainly in my world, that's how you communicate. But and that is technically a violation of open meeting laws, even if it's just scheduling a meeting. And so just reply directly to the sender if you do have to schedule those meetings or something to that effect. If you do reply all, we'll have to clean it up at the next public meeting. We'll have to say there was this open meeting. We wouldn't use the word violation, probably. That would be the attorney in me that's balking at that, but we would just say that there's this incident where you replied all, and so just avoid that, and make everybody's life easier. The other thing I want to discuss is sort of in the same vein, that's public record. So every communication that you have is a public record, and that again goes to electronic communications. The handbook suggests that you set up your own separate email. And Pam, yours, you're off the hook because you already have one. I think you probably do too, Wayne. I'm not sure about that actually. As a planning and zoning.
For city, for city
For city
business, you do
business.
not,
I do
Okay.
not.
but you should.
So I suggest that you don't intermingle your personal email with your city business. And that's for a few different reasons. One, if a public records request comes in, it just makes your life easier to be like, here. You could even give the password, whatever. It's just city business. You don't have to worry about any personal stuff in there. And it just makes it easier. On the off chance that a subpoena comes, it's sort of the same thing. And the last thing you want to have is sort of somewhat private and somewhat personal, or excuse me, somewhat public emails in the same correspondences. So because they are public. And the recommendations that I've provided to the other committees and commissions that we've had here are don't write anything about city business that you don't want published in the paper. So just be very cautious about what you're writing. I'm not trying to scare you. You are going to have correspondences and everything. Just keep it above board, keep it professional. It is easier than, from my own personal experience, is easier than you think to slip into colloquialisms and to just sort of stop being as professional as you need to be, but then a public records request hits and it can be a little bit embarrassing. So just keep that in mind. This is all public, both open meetings and public records. The last, yeah, absolutely.
When you say create an email, do you mean just like I create a new Gmail account, or is there a city?
Yep, a new Gmail account, and sounds like most are.
Yeah, whatever free service you can find, or
Perfect.
you don't have to pay for anything, just a basic, yeah.
Google makes it really easy. I have,
Oh, yeah, I have two.
Just something that you want to be specific to city business that doesn't have ads or anything that you're getting from when you sign up. Nordstrom's or whatever.
Yep.
So, and the last thing I want to discuss is ethics. So anytime you have a conflict of interest, on a decision making, it's important to recuse yourself, from the deliberation and the, voting process. You guys are in a little bit of in a different situation compared to city council because you're not making decisions, you're making recommendations. And so it's a little bit less, stringent for you. However, I think it's important to consider ethics as a cliff. So whenever you're contemplating whether or not something would be an ethical violation, step away from the cliff. So if you have a personal interest, typically that has to do with money. So if a business has something to do with one of the decisions that you're making, a business that you're involved in, or a family member, and that, I think off the top of my head, the statute goes to the second degree, so cousins. It's probable that you would have to recuse yourself from both the deliberation process and conflicts of interest are always very fact specific. So if you think you have a conflict of interest, contact me or Fonda Jovic, the other attorney, city. Need to do. I'm free for questions at any time. My office is in the powerhouse, so feel free to reach out and let me know if you have any questions. And happy to have you guys here.
Question, Zach, should I have a separate account for both planning and here, or can I use the same one?
Great question.
Sorry, I didn't mean to answer that.
No way.
I got her answer. Yeah.
I knew what Zach was gonna say.
Yeah, and that goes for you.
And I'll just tag on to Zach's training with just a real quick overview of this handbook. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's just 6 pages long, so it's not terribly long, but just to kind of highlight a couple of things in here. Just for the roles, everybody's roles, as board members, this is your committee. So there will be a chair and a vice chair. The chair will facilitate the meetings and preside over the meetings. The vice chair is someone who is there just in case the chair is absent. That's the reason for a vice chair. The city council liaison, Pam's your council liaison. She's here to, report back to council as to the decisions that are made and the activities of the board. And may also, you know, bring you some information from council. Staff liaison is Catherine, and she is here just to, she will facilitate a lot of the meetings and what goes on just to make sure that, that they run smoothly and that, that all of the information that's discussed and all of the, items that are coming before the board are those things that are coming from the city. A lot of the agenda items will run through Catherine and the chair. That's generally how that will work. Catherine will facilitate the agenda, in conjunction with your chair, whoever your elected chair is. Your board clerk, Samantha, will post your meetings and, she will be in attendance here to take minutes. Post those, and if you have any questions, eventually, this is gonna get turned over to her, and so, she and Catherine both can reach out to them if you ever have any questions or need any assistance. All the meetings will be held here at City Hall for the most part in this room, because it's set up for public meetings. If there's a conflict, we have another room that we can meet in, but generally we meet right here. That allows the public to come in and easily attend as well. We don't have anybody here today, but we might eventually. Again, I mentioned agendas are posted both online and here at Chambers. You'll be notified when the agenda is posted for your meetings, and you'll get that by email. So the email address that Zach mentioned, you can just send that to cityclerk@sandpointidaho.gov. It's the same address that's in your handbook here at the, I think it's at the end or the beginning. Just send it there, and then we'll replace the one that we have now with your new email address. Zach went over all of that for open meeting and public records. Rules and order of voting, we do use Robert's Rules of Order here at the city for all of our public meetings. We don't usually have to refer to them very often. I mean, even in council meetings, I'm very rarely having to call upon Robert's rules. We keep it pretty simple, basic motions, votes, once in a while, an amendment, but the only other thing that that mentions is just the fact that you know, just making sure that all board members have an opportunity to speak and be heard, and just to be for everyone to be cognizant of that and not to monopolize the conversation. The board, the chair is a voting member of the board. Just another member of the board, so the chair votes. The chair doesn't break ties or anything. Minutes we mentioned. Communication is kind of an important one. If you are out in the public or somebody has a question for you, particularly if it's the media, all media questions go back to the mayor's office for the city. So if that ever happens, just tell them to contact the mayor's office and we can help them with any inquiries they may have. Same way with public announcements, even things, you know, on Facebook or whatever, if you happen to participate like that. Because you're only one member of the board, you never speak for the board. The board speaks as a body. And generally any kind of announcements or anything like that, or notices, all of that comes through the city. Budget and purchasing, just a quick note to make sure that you clear any purchases for the committee through your staff liaison. Because we wouldn't want you to purchase something that then you're stuck with that we can't reimburse you for. So we have to make sure it's in the budget and that it's cleared before you make any purchases. Code of ethics and civility. Zach kind of went over that, the ethics portion of that. The civility portion of that is city code. We have a civility ordinance that we recently enacted a few months ago in city code, just for committees, for boards, for staff, and for members of the public who attend our public meetings. And the notation about the city code section of that is in the handbook if you're interested in reading it. That is all. We just some basics. Once we get through all the requirements and rules, then you can dive into the fun stuff at the next meeting of actual committee business. But we wanted to just give you an orientation and some training right off the top for everybody. There, like I said, that basic address, cityclerk@sandpointidaho.gov, is in the handbook. If you ever have any questions and you're not remembering addresses or where to reach, feel free to reach there. There's a couple of us who check that box all the time. And so we'll get your question to the appropriate staff member to answer that for you.
Questions? I guess we will move on to election of chair board. That sounds weird. Board chair, sorry. Um. Yeah, you guys get to decide yourselves and vote who is the board chair. Anyone volunteer?
Nobody's excited to jump.
Who's interested in serving as?
Good question.
Melissa can chime in on this more, but if it eases some of your concerns, you do get a script. So you don't have to totally wing it. You're kind of told what to say.
Yeah, we script all of our meetings. We script the mayor's meetings for council. We script P and Z. Not that the clerks are trying to run what's going on, but we do it so that the presiding officer doesn't have to think about what comes next. And so all of those legalities are right in that script as to how motions are made and getting the second, calling that roll call vote if it's needed. So we script council meetings and we script these board meetings as well, so that the chair is really just reading through that and moving through the meeting. That's all that the chair is doing. And it's gonna be once a month, probably for a while. It's possible this committee eventually may go to quarterly meetings. It's kind of up to you and how often you decide that you need to or want to meet. But it's not something that takes a lot of time. It's basically maybe 1 or 2 days a month.
Are we able to participate virtually? If we're out of town.
If necessary. Yeah, we prefer in-person attendance whenever possible, but yeah, if you're on vacation or something, if you wanted to participate, yes, we have an option for that.
Is this going to be the set day, Tuesday?
That's something we'll decide once everything, we have to get,
Because I think that would dictate whether or not I'd be interested.
we're shooting for Tuesdays because that works best for scheduling. That works best for myself as well.
Okay,
So,
I'm probably out.
Is the idea that the chair is coming up with the agenda topics and doing any socialization, or like, what, is it really just administrative when you're in?
For the most part, but I think also that a lot of the committee members, they may come to the chair of, hey, I've got an idea for an agenda item. I've got something I want to bring to the board. And then the chair sometimes then will coordinate with staff liaison. Because, the mayor mentioned that there's no master plan really for this group. There is for a lot of the groups, this one not. So, there could be some of that coming forward that's completely new, that isn't something that's been considered. So, that's something the chair may bring to the staff liaison, or the staff liaison may get that information and bring it to the chair. That's really, aside from presiding over the meetings, the chair is there to coordinate with the staff liaison on items for the agenda. And there could be times as well where Pam's going to be reporting at council meetings for this group, but it's occasionally maybe the chair will be there as well. Maybe she'll invite the chair to come and speak on a topic during council. That's also possible. But other than that, it's mostly just presiding over the meetings.
I would say that the chairperson is to some extent the spokesperson for the board as the body. So the chair does have a little bit more authority in that capacity. It is certainly informal. I mean, they don't have any more authority than anyone else in the committee, but they do act as sort of the spokesperson.
That's, thank you.
Well, since nobody will speak up, I will. Since I sit on the planning commission and I attend all city council meetings that I can throw my name in there.
So Wayne can nominate himself if he would like, or someone else can nominate him, and then we would just need a second.
Nominate. Wayne.
I'll second.
All right. And all in favor?
Well, any more nominations?
Does
Yeah,
anyone-
I don't think there are any more, but thank you. Wayne.
I'm gonna say I'm not going to do it because I will be out of town at least a couple times a year and will almost always be able to participate virtually. So I think it's important that somebody be here.
Yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right. Here we go. Yay, Wayne is our
Thank you, Wayne.
board
Thanks,
chair.
Wayne.
And so now we need a vice chair.
I can put my name in for that, that's fine.
I didn't.
I- Unless someone else wants to.
And tell me your name again.
Katrina.
Anybody else interested in vice chair?
Okay, all in favor?
Let's do, so you're nominating yourself, or
Yeah.
would someone else like to nominate Katrina?
I will nominate Katrina as
Mary?
vice chair.
And second? And Diana second.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
None opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
so next action item is scheduled meetings. So you're Diana? Because I had a note that says you're not available at noon on Tuesday or Thursdays.
Right.
So if we held the meeting, say at 1:30 on Tuesday,
Perfect.
you would be here. Okay, it doesn't have to be at noon. This is just what worked
Yeah.
this time. Is there a different? We would really like to stay on Tuesdays if that works for everybody.
yeah, I'm a working person, so for me, coming here at noon was perfect. But I can't guarantee that I wouldn't have a I work remotely, that I wouldn't have a meeting that would conflict, in which case I wouldn't be able to participate virtually.
Okay. So there's not like a specific day though that.
Tuesdays work well.
Time.
Like if we did in the morning on Tuesday?
My meetings kind of go all over the place. Trying to think if Monday at noon would work as well.
If we schedule, like if we say we're gonna have this the second Tuesday of every month at 1:30, could you?
Couldn't guarantee it.
I'm not
Well, and I
sure.
think that that's gonna happen probably for a lot of folks. These meetings have to be held during the weekday, during the week, during the daytime on a weekday. So that's gonna happen occasionally. We kind of just have to pick something that works for most everybody. And then, hopefully we have a quorum. Each time for this group of 6, we need 4 for a quorum. We can usually meet that, I think, and just hopefully that'll work for most everybody. It,
Yeah, and I can be here, probably 7 times out of the year on a Tuesday at 12. So I can try.
So does it have to be on the third Tuesday or second Tuesday?
Nope, it's whatever. I think it's kind of
I
whatever
would
Tuesday.
suggest, either, second Tuesday, we have we have meeting on a first Tuesday. I'm thinking about all of our board meetings we have. We have a meeting on first Tuesdays. We have a meeting on second Tuesdays. We have a couple of meetings on second Tuesdays. If Tuesdays are good for you, then I would suggest going with maybe fourth Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Might be a good one to go with, fourth Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then just kind of nailing down a time. And usually the meetings we shoot for no more than 90 minutes. They won't always be an hour and a half. And they might be closer to an hour most of the time, but just so you're aware, it'd be about 90, plan on 90 minutes, or set aside that time in your calendar. As you're planning your upcoming meetings for business or personal reasons, that once a month, you're gonna have that time, that 90 minutes.
And you're saying the fourth Tuesday?
Yes,
Sounds like that would be, and we'll take a vote on this too, just to confirm after we've kind of negotiated.
that,
12 or 1:30?
Yeah, that's
Well,
my
we
question,
pin
is
that
it
down.
12 or 1:30?
1:30 is a little easier for me just because my staff meeting runs right till noon, so like I was rushing in at the last second, but
we kind of meet in the middle at like 12:30.
That would be better,
That
to
would-
at least have part of the meeting in a lunch hour
Okay.
time.
does that help?
Would
you?
12:30 help you at all? Does that
No.
push you out?
But I can try it sounds like you've got more important business than I do, so.
Well, I don't know.
It's work.
Is,
Well, it's work, so.
my
Yeah.
question is, if we set this for the fourth Tuesday at 12:30, and in a couple of months, we realize that this time frame just isn't working, or can we add so we can add an agenda item to
make a change.
make a change to the schedule.
Absolutely.
So so can we, I guess, not tentatively, but for now, set it for the fourth Tuesday at 12:30? And at any point in the next couple of meetings, if something's just not working for everybody, send an email to the city clerk address and we'll get it agendized for the following meeting to discuss it again.
Samantha, does that work for you as well as board clerk? Yeah. Okay.
So, are we vote?
Yeah, so we can make a motion for that day and time.
I move to hold it on the fourth Tuesday of the month at 12:30. Roughly a 90-minute.
Correct.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ooh. Awesome. Thank you, guys. And that was the last business. So next is roundtable, I think we have time, which I believe we do, yeah, we have time. So open discussion for topics for our next meeting.
I had some I'd love to share, if I may.
Think so, is that,
Absolutely.
okay,
Okay. I printed 7. I should have, some of you might have recycled paper users. It's a program I briefly introduced at city council last meeting, that there's a community grant
Do you want us just to pass these?
on sustainable. Yeah, I counted you and I counted
You can
you.
just pass them.
Oh, I need to get out.
We can share if there's not.
No,
enough time.
there's plenty. Okay. One for you, Karen, and
awesome,
I
thank
can-
you.
we can print if you want to see one, or and to read on your own, or to include yourself on your own, or if it's something the sustainability committee might be interested in, it is right up this group's alley. It is for coming up with a risk assessment for the community on climate issues, climate considerations, and working together. It's a year's grant. It's a pretty amazing. We were one of 11 chosen this area for the country. And I'll let you read the rest on your own. And we're looking for people to join the group in certain capacities, and it's written in there. So if on your own, not in the sustainability committee, you were interested in it, there's some contacts in there. You can contact me. Just explains what it is and who we are looking for. We're looking for community organizations to help. Like we've reached out to Schweitzer. They've got an amazing sustainability program going. The Housing Authority, the Food Bank, all SASSY, all the community organizations that take care of us in the community. So we're looking for people to join and help. So if you wanted to read over it before next meeting, and if it was something that you wanted to do as a group, or if it's something you wanted to do on your own. That's all. Thank you. Melissa,
Thank you.
I can make you a copy if you'd like.
Oh, that'd be great. Add it to the. I don't. So I would suggest, if anybody else has any topics for the next meeting, you'll be meeting.
Can I just ask a question though before we move off this?
Mhm.
So there was the committee duties that were provided, and there's a list of different topics on D of like collecting and analyzing data. Just curious if there's other policies or plans that are moving through the council that touch on those issues that we should be aware of? No? Okay.
I got some in on the comp plan, but very few.
Do you want to go over all the duties? I have them, I can bring them up on the screen. If everybody would like to go, I think that would be a bad idea.
I have a question.
Yeah.
too. So, this is helpful in terms of our scope. I'm also wondering, I mean, sustainability is a big word. It encompasses, there's a lot of aspects. Do we have a definition that the city works with
Got in the comp
to-
plan or not. I wanted one in there.
to narrow, and if not, I think that's an important part of our work is to help us narrow the scope.
It is in the comp plan, yeah.
It's in the comp plan. I don't know that off the top of my
It's a
head.
very brief, we had a discussion about it and we kept it brief. It's in the comp plan.
So the comprehensive plan is gonna be your kind of guiding document, it's gonna be your contribution, and so anything that references sustainability there will be your main driving force for how to move forward. If something isn't defined, because you're gonna come across words, lots of words that aren't defined, it just takes their common ordinary meaning. So you could even go to a dictionary and use that definition as kind of basic rubric.
Well, there is a lot of definition for
Yeah,
sustainability.
sure.
And
So maybe that's something you guys would want to do.
yes.
can
That's- you're gonna have to
suggest
deal with,
anything or not,
especially
I
in
don't
this particular committee, I'm sorry.
Right, for what you want to accomplish, because it is overarching. I mean, it goes to bikes, bike pedestrian
Right.
crosswalks and things. I mean, it is
Right. We could just go down so many different paths
Yeah.
and not accomplish anything.
exactly.
So, and also I think for just, the public at large, it's important for them to understand what our focus is gonna be.
Maybe a mission statement? Do we do something like that? Like what our mission is?
Yep. Yeah, I think your mission's defined in code.
So sustainability committee duties, first one is hold meetings at least 4 times a year governed by Idaho open meeting law and the city's adopted parliamentary procedure and rules of civility and decorum, at public meetings. Next would be to review existing policies related to sustainability and propose new policies that align with best practices and emerging trends in sustainability. So that kind of goes with what you were just mentioning. Facilitate community outreach through engagement efforts to raise awareness about sustainability issues and gather input from residents on potential solutions as directed by mayor or city council. Collect and analyze data related to energy use, waste generation, transportation patterns, and other relevant metrics to assess the city's sustainability performance and identify areas for improvement. Something like that could be like the solar trash cans we have around town. I know you're working with Heather on
Recycling down.
a recycling project downtown, which is kind of fun.
Which I will need help.
Yes. Advocate for sustainable practices and educate residents, businesses, and other stakeholders about the importance of sustainability and ways that they can contribute to this. Evaluate proposed parks, public works, infrastructure, and development projects and initiatives for their potential environmental impact and sustainability benefits, providing recommendations for improvements or alternatives. And make requests for funding for sustainability focused studies or analysis to inform city policy and actions, which would, I mean, I think maybe something like this, and then putting together analysis and things like that to inform council, like what Jeremy was saying, so then everybody council can review it and then say yes or no, let's move forward type of thing.
Can I share, Catherine, with something? Maeve just sent me, she didn't know who the staff liaison was going to be.
Okay.
So I told her who it was. She
Perfect.
had just emailed me a thing on grants for sustainability work. So
Perfect.
I told her that it was you.
Bug
So
me,
she'll
perfect.
probably send that to you.
In terms of F, would that come through you as a liaison? So how would we know when things like that were being proposed such that we would want to take a look at them?
Yeah, that would definitely, I think, fall under my title. And so as like something like that from Maeve or Heather, Jason, any of the other city employees, if they see something come up and bring it to my attention, because I don't have my hands in all of their cookie jars. but if, yeah, 100%, if they brought something up to me, it would be up to me to propose it to all of you, and then you guys decide what to do with it. So, or, you know, if it's something that the sustainability committee would like to take on, and then I can provide as much detail and just go from there.
Thank you.
Yes.
May I share again? Sorry. So full of sharing. The comp plan. There are things in the comp plan pertaining to F, especially for sustainability. Those might be things, I know you're very familiar because you input quite a bit for us, and I know Christine is as well. When there was participation from the community, we got some, so those are things you could look at. You know, the comp plan is huge, but.
No, I'm just gonna say, having gone through this once before, you're gonna find E is probably the most difficult one. Working with the public and convincing, or not convincing, but at least educating and having discussions with them that are positive. Just real quick I spent first real big major project as a city administrator, taking tribal sustainability and integrating it into the city formats. And I'll tell you, it took about 6 years to get the city educated enough to even want to discuss it at city council meetings and that part. So it's sometimes it's real difficult, sometimes it's real easy, depending on what you're talking about.
Is there a summary somewhere of all the sustainability mentions in the comp plan? Would it be possible to get that? That we would just have that? like,
Yeah, and I think
available
that,
to us?
I know for all of the other committees that, the homework from, staff has been to go to the comp plan, if you haven't already, had a chance to review it. And it is long, but it's definitely worth going through. I think this committee, I'm not gonna say more than others, but I really think this committee could benefit from going through that plan. Really going, going through all the pages of it and all the charts that are offered there and all the information that's provided. We could do, there isn't any reason we couldn't do a word search
Yeah.
on that, certainly, to provide you with, maybe like a summary of all the
Cheat
places.
sheet kind of thing.
Yeah, like make sure you hit these areas, and we could ask maybe Samantha to go through that, and do a word search of that comp plan, and she and I could go through there and do that. And then
I
get
think
that.
that'd be really helpful.
Yeah,
I could even
get that
have
sorted out.
We could put that on the next agenda.
I know you're small.
I do not.
Put that on the next agenda.
Exactly, it'd be a great
For
agenda item.
Samantha and I to have that for you guys.
Also, those little icons, there's a sustainability icon.
Yeah.
In the comp plan, in the chapter, so
Tougher to search.
it doesn't always
Yeah.
fit.
But at least have something for you guys to some type of PDF or something like that that you can.
I think we'd be going back to that at every meeting probably.
Yeah, no, we can.
I'd like to see that.
I would too.
I'll see it every
Me too.
time.
So in order to have that for the next agenda, does it need to be voted or is it just discussed here? Okay.
Yep.
Um,
As long as, so for putting things on the agenda, as long as, the chair's been made apprised and it's run through staff, to just to confirm that it's appropriate for the agenda for this board.
Okay.
That's really all it takes. Yeah. For this, we have some more formal processes for council, for instance, but for these
That's
boards,
why I was-
it's really just, the chair and the staff liaison working through the agenda and compiling that.
So could we? So I want to go back to Mary's suggestion. I think it would be worthwhile, in addition to the comp plan, for us to have a common understanding of sustainability. I don't care whether we use a definite, a dictionary definite, but because it is such a broad topic and many, many people have different ideas about what sustainability is. And it's in a particular context that we're doing this work, so I think that's a worthwhile conversation. So we're kind of living in as much of a similar context as human beings ever do.
and I don't know, I'm not on the board, so I'm just talking. to me, I feel I 100% agree with that, and I feel like that would partially come from that word search for the comp plan.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
after that discussion happens, then you guys can kind of work on honing in what the committee is going to like try to focus on.
Yes. Personally, I'd like to hear everyone's ideas, just if everybody could do maybe an outline. And then we could pick topics that might fit or so that we're not picking a statement and then knocking anybody's ideas off the
Yep.
table before. So I don't know. I mean, I know for myself, I made a list of things that interest me within the city limits.
Mhm.
You know, things that affect everyone. So maybe if everybody did that, then
I like
we'd
that.
get an idea.
I was also wondering if I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, so tell me. If even right now, if you guys wanted to, or at the next meeting, if you guys can kind of just let everybody know, like, why you're here. Why you wanted to be on sustainability and kind of like what your strong points are, I guess, for being on the committee. Not that you have to have any necessarily, but just, I don't know, you have that planning background with the commissioners and things like that. Pam,
They did have to have strengths in that
Okay.
area.
And at the
to
other
be-
They're
committee,
probably diverse.
yeah, other
which
committee
is
meetings, we
awesome.
kind of did that anyways. You could do that here. It's not, it doesn't specifically have to be on the agenda for this. It's part of orientation.
Okay.
It's part of the roundtable. So if you wanted to do that today, Catherine, that would be great.
I'd be
That-
really interested in
Yeah.
hearing people's background and interests.
are you guys okay with that? Since
Sure.
we have, yeah,
Yeah.
I think
I
we
thought
have
we
the
were gonna
time.
do that
Yeah.
when we introduced.
Cool.
We've got 40 minutes.
Cool, we got time.
Start right down there.
Start at that end this
Okay.
time?
Well, I told you a little bit about myself, that I have an MBA that focused on sustainability in the business world. And so I've always had an interest in that. And,
You know what your name is?
oh, sorry, Deborah Dickerson.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've been living in Sandpoint for 10 years and, I love this place. I managed to hang on during, I don't own my own home and I managed to hang on here during all the rent increases. To me, that's part of sustainability is affordability. Like there's so many different places that it could touch. And when I was going to school, it's kind of changed a little bit as corporations have kind of taken on sustainability, but for me, it's always been people, planet and profit. That if we take care of that, then we're good, you know? And so how does that apply to Sandpoint? And I'm really curious about that. And then I'm also a business coach. So I work essentially for NIC. We have a small business development center. We're funded by the government. And we provide coaching and training for small business owners at no cost to them. So I'm very involved in the business community here. I also work for my church in a completely different realm as their online campus coordinator, and that's at Cedar Hills.
Awesome.
Diana Duke and my husband and I have backgrounds in permaculture. I have a permaculture design certification.
What is
What's-
that?
It's about as hard to define as sustainability. So it's ways of integrating society and community in a natural and into nature in a natural way.
Okay,
So it entails natural building. So my husband and I had a home, a tiny home built with, instead of like regular insulation, we had it done with wool. The whole entire tiny house is, with natural. I'm doing all of the wood with oils myself.
rather than like a
Um,
stain or something.
So yeah, it's all ways of integrating in to nature without, use of chemicals and it's more food forests, so it's not your normal farming techniques. So you do more of a everything is like a food forest within a small area. rather than sprawling farmland, that kind of thing. I also went through the Idaho Master Forest Stewardship Program when I came here, so, excuse me. We own 20 acres in Priest River as well. So I've done all the thinning in my forest and that kind of thing, so, that interests me. And I do have a background in human resources, so diversity can be part of, sustainability, I guess. So I have a lot of background in that. So, yeah.
I'm Christine Moon, and I'm fourth generation out of a 7-generation Sandpoint family on all sides. So my grandparents emigrated here or were born here as children. I just celebrated with a 1-year-old great nephew yesterday, his first birthday. So I'm very invested in Sandpoint's past, present, and future. And all the changes have really spurred me to want to take some action. And I've had a long interest in sustainability, the earth, and preserving the future for humankind and our other animals and plants. And my background, my work background is in science. I'm an experimental psychologist. And so I know how to read and find research literature, practiced in evaluating it. So although I have no particular work expertise in the biology or the ecology, I do know something about psychology. And so I'm very happy to be here and hope that I can make a good contribution.
So I'm Katrina Pielli. Professionally, I've been working in climate my whole career. At the moment, I'm a federal employee, so here on my own behalf, working at Department of Energy, working on tribal issues, but I've been working on infrastructure and energy efficiency and everything. I've worked at EPA, at USAID, currently at DOE. I was born in Sandpoint at Bonner General, so have a real vested interest, first generation as well. Was gone for many moons, but moved back, and I'm thrilled to be back, despite not living in Sandpoint. Thank you for allowing non-residents to be part of this committee, because I care deeply about the future and spend a ton of time in the city limits. So that's why I'm here, and I'm looking forward to contributing.
I'm excited about the diversity of people here. So I'm Mary Wilco's, and I've had a house in Sandpoint since '06. My background is in science and geology and water resources. My career's been in, I worked for public, private, nonprofit sectors, mostly as an environmental professional. I currently work for an environmental consulting firm and site solar projects. And what else? I've got a professional certification in sustainable business management. And I've had training in public involvement, and I think it's really important to have public involvement in decision making and really like the direction that the city's been in that regard. And I'm very excited to work with everybody here.
Me too. They're awesome. Pam Ducat. I am a retired educator. I've lived here for 40-some years in the county, not right in Sandpoint. Worked in the woods. I am still here because of the natural resources and people. I ran for council because I was frustrated with the way I thought the city was going. I see I've seen lots of change being here for so long. I have big ideas. I don't know if I'll ever get any of mine accomplished because there's a lot involved in doing things like that. But the recycling thing just really excites me, that I got permission and some money to work on that. Yeah, save, I'm a water quality monitor. I have been for 11 years. I've done stewardship work with nonprofits. I'm part of a couple of environmental organizations in the area. Working on wilderness coming up pretty quick. That's just what I love about the area. That's what most of us love about the area. I think we just need to focus on maintaining it. And so, yeah, I'm really excited. I've been working with Jeremy a lot on getting this going and then getting the recycling going. And he has good ideas and things for us, for you to accomplish as well. So he'd be a good one to pick the brain of. But thanks, all of you. It's exciting. It's so much knowledge.
We take all this knowledge and use it for other things too. Uh, Not sure just where to begin a little bit. I've been around for a long, long time here also, and just as part of the environmental part, I was involved for 27 years with basically one of the largest organic farms in North Idaho. And I'm involved with also the establishment of the farmers market back in 75. I was more the labor than I was with really a lot of the details, but involved with that. I'm on this here, or requested to be on the committee based off of my sitting on the planning commission, because you're talking about how the two of them dovetail together so closely, and they do, very much so. Having spent quite a bit of time working with sustainability and getting it integrated into city aspects and into city planning. It's very intriguing and very enlightening. Also led to federal lawsuits, but ironically, we survived that part of it. Other than that, basically an engineer, planner by trade, as well as education, and throw in politics because I have sat as our county commissioner for 6 years. So some of you probably were around in those days, remember? Yeah. You're probably doing the water monitoring from Pack River Golf Course set up. Other than that, I just hope to be able to provide some input from my past. We go forward. And I really look forward to working with this diverse group of people. I think it's going to be fun. Don't mind me, I'm having my lunch.
That's that time of day. Sounds like you might have some agenda items for your next
Yes,
meeting.
We do. I'm excited about this. That was one of my questions when I was talking to Melissa about this. Like, what are we gonna have on the agenda? And she's like, well, hopefully we get some stuff.
I think
this
the
meeting.
definitions of
Yeah.
what we
Yep.
really need to be using as definitions will be a good one, because I think right now there's probably 12 definitions here around. Some of them which do have a few little pieces that tie together. I think one of the ones that we used out of Thorn Bay up there, finally into the all our master planning and all our comp plan upgrades and changes, was the UN definition. I think that that's probably a very general good one. The tribes that we work with, they're the Tlingit and Haida tribes. Their definition was basically environment, economics, and of course they called it tribe, but did more community. And that's what I think here again, very general basis, but I think our definition needs to be focusing on what the city's really looking at. Because there could be, go off on a real, wasn't gonna say rabbit chase, but
Yeah, I think to stay focused and then also to recognize that there's a lot of different efforts going on and not to duplicate. So in some ways, we're kind of casting to find out what else is going on too.
I would also suggest when you have time, I mean, everybody's really busy, but the recording of this meeting, as well as recordings of all of our public meetings, are on YouTube. So the City of Sandpoint has a YouTube channel. If you just go to YouTube, type in City of Sandpoint, it should come right up with our logo. Kind of keep abreast of the other committees. I probably will cross over at times, what's going on in their committees. The minutes are always posted. We hope to post minutes fairly quickly. And our minutes are not, we don't do transcript minutes. It's just the motions, votes, things like that, and high level, topics of discussion so that you can kind of get an idea of what's going on in all of these committees. So, yeah, and of city council, of course, if you don't already watch the city council meetings, or if you don't, if you're unable to come to them, but you want to watch the recordings, those are all on YouTube.
Can
Yes.
we also get like a, list of everyone's names and emails and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
So that
We'll work on that, make sure we get that out to everybody. And
I'll be
we
changing my
probably-
email.
Okay, we won't necessarily give you everybody's email address. We'll talk about that a little bit. We kind of discourage that email conversation just to ensure that we aren't violating open meeting law.
I see.
Some people are friends, some of you may know each other already, so you know how to contact each other, but for the most part, for committee and board business, it's all done through staff and through those channels.
Could we get a paper copy of the comp plan?
Hmm.
I wish.
What
I'd
if,
like one also.
I don't.
what I was thinking about is, so for the next meeting is having, and I was gonna sit down with Sam and see if her and I can carve out some time to do this, but to pull sustainability out of the comp plan and organize it for all of you, and then I will try to have that available for you at the next meeting.
That would be.
So that was my goal, just to help give everybody a better idea of what this is gonna cover.
I was just gonna say, remembering or realizing that the comp plan can change, is a changing document, any place you see, in my opinion, I don't know how much I can say it. Think about where you would input or change or add or share as a committee to bring the comp plan along.
Yeah, we can always try that too, if there's stuff,
I mean,
once
like,
you guys all get a copy of it. I mean, I don't know how hard or easy that is, but if there's things that you would like to see added or taken away, I think that can always be presented to council as well.
I was told that was.
So just because it makes it easier going forward, not just for us, but for anybody else that decides to be on this board, if it has better definitions in the comp plan. By then, whoever decides to be on the board at a later date isn't sitting in the same boats that we are right now going, what are we doing?
And remembering that the council.
Yeah.
Any of it changes.
Yeah. But
Also,
Yeah.
I would be willing to go electronic too, just to kind of go have a paperless environment since we are the sustainability committee.
It's on, it's already on electronic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today, handing out a copy of the handbook for everybody, we're just kind of doing the same thing for every committee, so you're gonna get a paper copy of the handbook, paper copy of your list of duties. Beyond that, you generally won't see paper at this table at your meetings, it is all digital.
I just like to scribble. Circle and. Paper, I know paper's bad.
when, so for the next meeting, when would we need, if any of the members wanted to add stuff for the agenda for the next meeting, when would they need to have that to us by?
So your next meeting will be Tuesday, October 29th.
So we're doing the last Tuesday.
Fourth Tuesday.
Well,
Yeah.
fourth is it's second according to my. calendar.
October?
So we have 5 Tuesdays, I think, unless my.
Oh, you might be right about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that works out even better. I was trying to figure out how to swap you guys out to a different room because this one is being used. Thank you for pointing that out. I totally missed the one
What's the
there.
22nd?
It's the 22nd, yeah,
Okay.
October 22nd.
12:30.
Yeah. So the agenda for that will be posted, probably the prior Friday, Thursday, I'm gonna say Thursday, the 17th. To give staff enough time to ensure that we, get everything collected we need to. It really need to be toward the beginning of that week, like Monday. We'd love to have a week. So, a week ahead of time, if you could make sure that you're getting that information to Catherine, and to Wayne. And what we will do for email addresses, we will send them kind of a follow-up message out after this meeting, and we'll include Catherine's email address as well as Samantha's, and we'll include Wayne's and Katrina's as well, and Pam's as the, just so that you have that contact information to contact those folks. But yeah, if you have any ideas for agenda items, things you'd like to maybe discuss, just send to Catherine and Wayne.
Is there a standard procedure for how, so right, on my mind right now is water quality and lake water quality. I'm a swimmer as well. So, and I noticed that there's a lot of individuals here that have water quality background and probably know a lot more than I do, but I would be able to my input would be more what I'm experiencing with some of the water quality. What would be the proper procedure to go about and talk about individuals? Do I do it offline and then maybe we could put something together for the agenda?
You wanted to talk to which individuals?
So I think Mary, you had a background in water quality, and Pam, maybe?
I work with ICL right now, doing water quality monitoring during the summer, but
Okay,
it used to be what it was called. And what it's, as a water steward, ICL, Jennifer Ekstrom is a good one to talk to. She can show you how you get all the data that we have collected this year and
Okay.
compare it to
and
other
so
years.
I guess my question would be like, if I was looking for somebody's expertise in a certain area and, within part of this group, but I wanted to maybe bring it up on the agenda, but I didn't know all of the vocabulary maybe on, or all of the background. Like, how would I best do that? Just offline or?
So you're allowed to speak with other members of this board without violating open meeting laws, up to 3. So if you and two other members of the board are speaking, that's perfectly fine.
Okay,
And then any one of you individually or as a group of no more than 3 can reach out to the chairman or the clerk's office and ask to have things placed on the agenda, in which case it can be tabled to everybody.
And sometimes there's
that answers my
subcommittees.
question.
Some of these committees create subcommittees, who do that. They go back and work on projects who are not a quorum. So that might be one of those things that this committee does. Sounds like you can have a lot to work on. But if you have a question like that,
Mhm.
just contact your staff liaison, contact your clerk. They can reach out to those committee members and, or give you those addresses if they're needed.
Just keep in mind, if you are communicating in writing, even in those subcommittees, if you will. it's all
Public record.
Question, Zach. Now, when you're talking about committee members, that's just the committee. That's not our good old friend. from the
That's
city.
correct. Pam, it's not a committee.
She's not, and nobody else here. So if you're talking to these people, they're not part of committee.
That would need to be agendized, I believe.
If you have a
Good.
quorum, yeah, but if they're wanting to chat with Pam,
Yeah.
as their elected official and as our council liaison, they can do that directly.
Yeah.
And I'll provide her,
Please.
her email address to
Please
you.
Thank you.
But you're safe talking to her because she's not a committee member.
That's
right. An onlooker.
Right, anybody else have anything else they want to discuss or? All right,
October 22nd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
12:30.
And it sounds like we have enough agenda items already.
We have, I have roughly 1, 2, 3, 5. It's a good little
In terms of
agenda.
I'm on the same. on the 22nd, and then starting at 9. So just in terms of quorum, just I won't be here. I'll still work with you on all of that. I won't actually physically be present.
Can we hold the meeting on the plane?
I was gonna say, if there's a dial-in and I can just dial in and
No,
there's
all of
Wi-Fi.
us on the plane.
Oh, you're welcome, to, but I was actually thinking if I could just dial in with the pin Wi-Fi.
There is a Zoom. If you,
I'll follow up.
yeah,
And with Zoom, if you do need to participate remotely like that, all we ask is that you're in a quiet space. In just in an appropriate area, in a, you know. Yeah, I hate to point out not in your jammies, but I have to say that because I've seen things come across sometimes. I just appropriately, as if you were at the meeting, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
she's not on the plane in her.
Well, I'm gonna be on a plane, but do you have to be on video or can you just join for audio only?
You can join audio only.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've had that, sometimes there's not a good connection for video and so, but audio comes through, but audio is the important part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also be participating remotely on Zoom
So
Yeah.
audio
On that
meets
date?
statutory requirements of our involvement.
on
Audio
the
is-
22nd.
Okay.
Video just helps.
Yeah.
Now I'll be out of state, so.
Awesome. All right.
Well, that counts as quorum, right? If I'm participating.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, then if everybody is good, yeah, I will call meeting adjourn 1:15. All right, see you guys, talk to you guys in a month.
Yep.
Thank you.